I know you atheists out there think that we're crazy, that we're under a delusion, and with some correctness of facts you can say that a whole bunch of evil in the world has stemmed from what you like to call faith. Actually, it doesn't stem from faith, it stems from abuse of faith. It stems from lack of faith. Due to lack of faith, there's no stem cell research. Due to lack of faith, we don't know that there's no soul life in the womb. Due to lack of faith, we're childish in our perception of the Bible. Due to lack of faith, we don't audit because we're afraid to find out that due to our lack of faith, we don't know some of what the Bible really says. So due to lack of faith, we think that the Genesis account says that the world was created in 6 days, when in fact the actual Genesis 1, 2, and following says it was restored in 6 days after some uncertain period of time, and it doesn't say whether the universe was created by the Big Bang or whether it was a steady state or just instantly there. It could be instantly there, but the tenses in the Greek and Hebrew don't tell you. But due to our lack of faith, we don't know this. So actually what you're calling is our problem of faith is the opposite, as so often is true about the accusations made against us. It's due to our lack of faith. We don't believe enough. We don't hear enough. The first meaning of the word faith in Greek is what is believed, meaning the Bible itself. We don't have enough Bible. And that's our problem. But here's what we do have enough of that you guys have none of. And this is why we're not atheists. We know him. We don't know him well enough. We don't know him equally. We don't know him well. But we actually see him in our heads. It's because he's, immaterial. We have a soul. The soul is immaterial. So do you have a soul. But you want to call it material like Feuerbach did. Okay, Feuerbach was wrong. Man is not mass in motion without a soul. We know we have souls, and the soul is immaterial, and with our immaterial soul, we see immaterial God. That is our witness to you collectively. That is why we're not atheists, because we see God through our soul. And to a man or woman or child, all of us Christians, we know God is real. That's why we're not atheists. We see him. Now, you know that must be true because we all argue with each other. We argue about what the Bible says. The Calvinists argue with the Catholics argue with the Calvinists, the Bereans argue with the Calvinists argue with everybody else. The Baptists are all over the map, so, they're, sort of like an amorphous group. And then you have all the other sects of Christianity, of which there are approximately 24 to 30,000. Okay? And we all argue with each other, rather vociferously even. And of course you can easily point to Gibbon and say, oh, you bad Christians. You guys fought and killed people in the name of Christ. Yes, we did. But that's because we lacked faith. And because we lack faith, we argue with each other. Some of us have more understanding than others. But one thing that we all show by that argument is that we all see God. So here you have a bunch of witnesses, thousands upon millions maybe, all attesting that God exists, and you ignore it. We argue with each other about the nature and the meaning of this God and the meaning of the word that this God wrote, but we all agree he wrote a word, and we all agree that it's the Bible. We differ over which books are the Bible. The Catholics count 72 of them, we count 66. And of course there are some other things like in AUDIT and some of the other Seventh-day Adventists where they count stuff that's outside both sets of Bibles. Stuff that's, on par, like the Mormons account, the Book of Mormon, Doctrine of the Covenants, etc. Okay, we all disagree with each other, but we all agree there's a God. Now, where I come from, when you got so many witnesses agreeing on certain essentials, each one of them disagreeing with each other on other things, so it's not like we're agreeing that God exists because we like each other, because we obviously don't. We don't like what the other guy believes. Okay, but we still agree that God exists. Yeah, because we all see him. And what are you guys doing about that? You atheists. Doesn't it ever dawn on you that with millions and millions of witnesses all attesting the same thing, before I even bring in the other religions who also maintain God exists, but they don't maintain it's the God of the Bible? When does it click for you guys? When do you say, oh golly, millions and millions of people for thousands of years have said God exists, and you say God doesn't exist, there's no evidence? In a courtroom, witnesses establish evidence because they're first-hand eyewitnesses. Okay, well, that's what we are. So, ball's in your court.